Hi, I'm Pam. I work in the EKG department here at Mercy General. I'm responsible for education and training. Today we're going to have a brief in-service on our EKG carts and our most common troubleshooting topics. This is the 280 Mortara and this is the 380. They're both battery operated and wireless. When they are not in use, they do need to be plugged in at all times. If the battery gets depleted all the way, they need to be charged for 8 to 12 hours uninterrupted. The leads are on a wireless acquisition module, which is referred to as the WAM. They are individual to each cart. They are labeled. They cannot be interchanged. These have their own battery source, which is a AA battery. The machine will alert you if the battery is low. When you change the battery, it's just a simple remove the battery, and this just clips right on. If the battery does go out on you in the middle of a test, you need to make sure that your patient information is still in the machine when you run your test. When you do plug this into the wall, always make sure that your charging light is on here, not the battery life here on the screen. It'll also be up there in the top right-hand corner of the screen. The light you want to look for is right here, because sometimes in the back of the cart, the cord does come loose and people think they're charging the machine and it's not getting charged. So now we're going to talk about changing the paper. When the paper is low, there will be a red line at the top of your EKG paper. The way that you change the paper is there is a clip here. You press the clip, you slide the door open. It only opens halfway. And here's the red line at the top of the page when you get to the end of the ream. So when you place your paper in, you want to make sure that that red line's at the bottom. You just slide your paper in. You need to close this door and you need to make sure that it clicks. If the paper looks like it has low ink, these machines do not have ink cartridges. This is thermal paper. But if it appears that there is low ink, either your door is not completely shut or the battery is low. If you do have any problems with the EKG carts, please call the EKG department or the EKG tech on Vocera before you call Biomed. We do have a lot of supplies and we can fix the carts. So now I'm going to go over the 3 most common reasons that we have orders not showing on the cart in the modality work list. Q Street orders, EDIP orders, and multi-outpatient orders will all show in the Cerner chart, but they will not show up on the EKG carts in your modality work list. The Q Street orders are orders placed by the physician in an outpatient setting. They will not show up with a med record number here in the hospital. EDIP orders are separated on the ER carts from the house orders on the house carts. Multi-outpatient location EKG orders is an IT issue that we're having right now, and that will be fixed in the near future. So if you have any 3 of these orders, you need to manually input the information. So if you do type information in manually, whether you're in an emergency situation or it's an order not showing, you need to make sure that you have a name, a medical record number, and if you don't have the medical record number, at least put a room number. You also need to put a date of birth or an age, or the machine will automatically default to a 40-year-old. If you accidentally type a 0 or a space or any 1-digit number, it will automatically do a pediatric interpretation. Common issues that you might have with getting a connection for your EKG tracing is there could be broken clips. The clips could also have gel inside where the connection is. The common electrodes that you see here at the hospital are these. And if you're in an emergency and you run out of these, you can actually clip these to your monitor electrodes. There's a space on the back. It clips right onto the snap, and you can use these. Another common issue could be the wires are loose here where they go into the WAM. You need to be very gentle when you try to push these wires back up because the connections get broken in here. So if you do notice that one of these is lower and you need to push it back up, you need to do it very gently. The most common problem that we have with connection is the electrodes on the skin. Prep is very important. If you are having a connection problem with Artefact or even getting a tracing at all, you do need to try and prep the skin with alcohol, make sure it's dry, and then reapply your electrodes. Always check the arm and leg leads first. That is where you're going to get your main connection. Another common reason you might have trouble with Artefact in your EKG tracing is the placement of the arm leads. The machine will have a diagram telling you that the wrist is where you want to put the electrodes. It is recommended by the company to put the electrodes for the arms on the outside of the shoulders and then tell the patient to relax their shoulders. You may also have trouble with electrical interference. This could be cell phones. If the cell phone is anywhere on the bed, it will interfere with your EKG. Also, the monitor wires, if they are touching any of your EKG wires, you will have electrical interference. And also the actual bed and the IVACs. If you are having trouble with electrical interference, you can start with unplugging the bed. If you're having trouble with baseline wander, normally the reason is because the WAM is sitting on the patient's belly and they're going up and down if they're also having trouble breathing. The best place for the WAM is on the bed next to the patient. You can also have trouble with the lead wires over the bed railing or also lying on the patient and going up and down. When you notice that you've printed an EKG that has no patient information on it, but you know that you've put the patient information in, the reason for that is probably what happened is you put the patient information in and then you got busy doing something else, taking a blood pressure, or you got called away and you have not hooked up the patient yet. There is a 5-minute timeout on the EKG carts that it'll erase all the patient information if you do not have the patient hooked up in 5 minutes. When you do have a blank EKG and you put a label on that EKG, that is good for the chart or for the bedside, but we need to correct that electronically. So the most important thing is when you do run a blank EKG, you need to call the EKG department and leave a message or contact us on Vocera. If you also notice that you've accidentally put in the wrong patient information and you are complete with the EKG, it's the same as a blank EKG. You need to put a label on it and contact the EKG department as soon as possible. Whenever you do an EKG, you need to enter your initials on the tech line. It is a legal document. When you print out your EKG, if you notice that lead 2 is flatline, you need to take a glance back at your patient and make sure that your leads are on properly. This is usually the right arm and the right leg are reversed. It's important to know that when doing multiple EKGs on one patient, the first EKG that you transmit is the EKG that is going to connect to the order, bill the patient, and go into the Cerner chart. It cannot be undone. Never delete or erase an EKG that has been transmitted. Always contact the EKG department as soon as possible with any errors or any possible errors. You can contact the EKG department at extension 4484 or EKG Tech on Vocera.